I'm Selena Knight. I'm the Retail Biz Strategist, and I help independent retailers like you to build and grow their retail stores so that you can have personal and financial freedom. So today I want to talk to you about how you can hire the right people based on your personality. Now, it's a little bit different to what I normally talk about, but I think it's really, really important to know more about yourself before you go and hire other people. So let's jump in. Have you ever been, whether it's in your retail store or when your corporate job beforehand or another job that you've had, have you ever found yourself like super excited about a potential employee? They have every skill that you could ever hope for. It's just that, I don't know, you can't quite put your finger on it, but they just don't seem right. On paper, this person is perfect, but there's still this little bit of niggle in the back of your mind that maybe they're not so perfect. Maybe it's too good to be true. Now, sort of look at the fact that you may have another candidate who they don't have the same skill set on paper, but it just seems like they'd be a good fit. But you're weighing up between whether, the perfect person on paper is right for your business, or is it the person that just feels right? So which do you choose? Well, the better that we understand ourselves and other people, the more successful that we'll be dealing when it comes to other people and situations and to getting it right. Now, that's a paraphrased quote from Sally Hogshead. And she goes on to say that using psychology to your advantage in everyday situations to actually get people, to influence people, to help and support, and to get your message across in a way that's right for you, going on to better understand and shape decision making. You can motivate and manage people, dealing with conflict, and most importantly, to understand and manage our own impact on other people is possible when you know more about your personality. So I'm here to ask you, when it comes to the real you, exactly how well do you know yourself? You know that dreaded question that you get, what would you say your strengths and weaknesses are? We've all had it in some sort of job interview. Well, I wonder when you ask that question, do you actually have an actual answer? One that will allow you to hire the right people and to collaborate with the right people? Because when you have the people that you have, if you know more about your own strengths and weaknesses, you're able to put them in a position that aligns best with what's right for them and what's right for your business. Is this making sense? So let me explain a little bit more. One of the reasons that successful people are, successful is that they truly know what they're great at and they know what they're not so great at. So here are a couple of examples, and I don't want this to all be about me, but hopefully you guys know a little bit about the sort of person that I am, so it's going to make sense. Over the years, I've done the DISC profile, I've done Myers-Briggs, I've done them all really, but my favorite was Sally Hogshead's fascination profiling, which I'll talk about a little bit more. Now, all of these tests told me different things about myself. In Myers-Briggs, for example, I'm an ENTP, and ENTPs enjoy the mental exercise that is found in questioning the prevailing mode of thought. It goes on to say that it makes them irreplaceable in reworking existing systems or shaking things up and pushing them in clever new directions. However, they'll be miserable managing the day-to-day mechanics and actually implementing their own suggestions. Now, in layman's terms, that means I am a big picture, ideas kind of person who thinks outside of the box. And if you've been around for a while, you know that that's me. But what I'm not so great at is the nitty-gritty of how everything's going to be done. I will argue a point, and I'm also not so great at interpreting people's feelings. I look at a problem and I instinctively logically try to find a solution for people. And this can often be mistaken for not being sensitive to other people's feelings. But that is my superpower. I can instantly see where things are broken, and then in my head, it immediately goes to strategize mode to try and find solutions. Now, if we move over to the DISC profile, I'm a 100% D. Now, apparently only 3% of the population sit with me in this brain space, and that is probably a very good thing because high Ds, they prioritize accepting challenges, they take action, and they're really, really focused on achieving immediate results. Big picture kind of stuff. You know, the people who don't read the instructions when they have to put something together. High Ds are also the direct. They're demanding, they're forceful, they're strong-willed, they're driven, they're determined, they're fast-paced, they're very confident. But it takes a lot of energy for people like me who are high Ds to show patience, to display sensitivity, and to get into details. So those two personality tests tell me a lot about me. But unfortunately, it took me a lot of years to work that all out. What they tell me is that I am great being the leader. I'm great being the inspirer. I'm great being the provider of confidence. I see the big picture. I love solving problems, and I will keep on until that problem is solved. But on the flip side, I sometimes seem a little bit insensitive because I'm trying to find a solution to somebody's problem, because that's what I'm good at. That's my superpower. But perhaps my favorite personality test is the fascination test. Now, I'll pop a link to this. I've got a free code for you. I don't get anything out of it. I just think it's a great way to see how the world sees you. So most personality tests talk about how you are in the world, but this talks about how other people see you, which is really, really important. It highlights those qualities within ourselves that we should focus on when it comes to selling ourselves to the outside world. Now, in the fascination test, I'm a maestro. My advantages are focus, determination, and being results orientated. And I lead through knowledge and experience and power. So, all these things together tell me that this is what I'm doing. What I'm doing helping business owners is right. I've honed my business model down to this is what I do, and this is what I do well. Now, knowing this means that I can assess every single opportunity that comes along, and I can work out whether it's actually possible to achieve the outcome with the skill set that I have. So, enough talking about me. How does this help you when it comes to hiring the right people for your business? Now, I just wanted to give you those examples because if you've been around for a little while, you know a little bit about me, and this will all make sense. But how does this help you? Well, when I went to hire an assistant, I specifically targeted people who were results oriented because that is something that I value very, very highly. But I also focused on someone who was super, super organized. In fact, if I remember rightly, my job description said, "Are you an organizing super ninja?" And I needed someone with great attention to detail because these are the things that are not my strong suit. It is, it's so easy to hire people who you've got like that instant connection with because you get along with them straight away. But this usually occurs when someone is actually a lot like you, and most of the time you don't actually need to hire another you. As much as we say, I just wish I could clone out myself, you don't actually need you. You need to find the person that will pick up all of the juggling balls that you've left lying on the ground in whatever skill set that is. And remember, employee personality always trumps talent and skills. Going right back to the beginning, if you have that person who on paper looks perfect, but it just doesn't feel right, you can teach anyone pretty much any skill. You need to have somebody with the right attitude and the right values that align with your stores. So even if their skills aren't super, super impressive, quite often you can just teach them what they need to know. So personality tests can be a great tool to allow you to adjust your behavior. For example, if you know that you're not good in a crowded situation, you'll be instantly aware of it. And when you're cognizant of it, you can change your behavior to something that's a little bit more acceptable. You can know when it is, time to move out of the room, when it's time to stand off in the corner, and you can be ready for the fact that you're putting yourself in a situation that isn't your forte. So this episode wasn't meant to be all about me, but I'm hoping that it's been much easier for you to understand when you can take my example and put it into a frame of reference. Now, I would love for you to go and take some of these tests. You can usually find them free, some free basic ones online. And I'll pop a link to the How to Fascinate one. I've got a code which you can get access to for free. I don't get anything out of it, but it's a great insight to what your superpower is. Because when you know your superpower, all of a sudden, the way that you project yourself and the confidence that you have in yourself, knowing what your strengths are, it's a game changer. And when you know that, you can go and hire the people you need to back you up, to pick up those juggling balls that you've left lying all over the ground, because that's not in your skill set. So I would love you to take one of those tests and come back and tell me, what you are. As I said, in the fascination test, I'm a maestro. I would love to know what you are and what your superpower is. And when you know what your superpower is, how are you going to use that to either hire some new people or maybe change the way that you focus your business? Come back and tell me how you're going to use that information. Now, if you're listening to this live, I'm more than happy to answer some questions about either of those tests or about hiring people. So pop your questions in the chat. And if you're listening to this a little bit later over on the podcast, head on over to selenaknight.com/personality, and we can talk a little bit more there on the blog about hiring people and knowing your strengths and weaknesses when you know what your personality is. So if you've got any questions about personality and hiring, chuck them in the comments and we'll talk about them now. If you're listening to this on the podcast, remember that every Wednesday at 12:30, I host a live Facebook chat where you can come in and you can chat about the topic of the day. I'm here. I can answer your questions. I send out a notification 15 minutes beforehand, and I also pop a notification in the group. But book it into your calendar if you'd like to come and visit me every Wednesday and talk about one business strategy that will help you grow your retail store. For this week, it is personality profiling and using that to hire the right people in your store. Until next week, be profitable. This episode is brought to you by my new resource, the 5-minute hack to make you a copywriting ninja. If you have an online store, then this is for you. It will show you exactly how you can update your product descriptions in order to make more sales. Download it for free at selenaknight.com/ninja.